Askreddit, what movie do you wish you could experience for the first time all over again? The Shawshank Redemption. Was about to say this. The ending, you only truly get to experience it once. Every subsequent viewing, you know exactly what's going to happen, and although it's still a splendid movie during said viewings, it's nothing like complete roller coaster you get put through the first time. The Matrix. I couldn't even form coherent sentences for like an hour after seeing that in theaters. I didn't get to see this in the theaters but saw it on VHS with my GF. She wasn't into action movies but it was my night to pick. Didn't know anything about it but was covering half the wall on the new release shelf at the rental shop. Blew us away. GF couldn't stop talking about it after it was over. We watched it a few more times till we had to take it back. It was and still remains my #1 movie of all time. Then the sequels came along, not bad, just not good enough for what it started. Like many things, don't explain the mystery, it'll ruin it. Empire Strikes Back. I watched it when I was too young to really pay attention to the story and all I cared about was seeing lightsabers and stuff. I can only imagine watching it now, seeing the twist for the first time and how I'd react. I find it cool how not even the actors knew the twist until filming. In practice and on the script they used the line, "Obi-Wan killed your father," from memory. Either that or, "I killed your father." The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, and every other LOTR movie in that trilogy, TBH. But not the Hobbit movies. I still chase the feeling I got when I watched it for the first time in middle school. I never get tired of watching LOTR. Return of the King. Just hearing Theoden's speech for the first time again, seeing them charge down on those lines of orcs. I fell in love with fantasy that day. I still get goosebumps when Aragorn tells the hobbits, "My friends, you bow to no one." Fight Club. You can't watch it twice because of the plot twist. Actually, you want to see it twice just to catch all the hidden clues and misdirections that you missed the first time. Then you go online to find out what you might have missed and watch it for the third time to catch those. Then you watch it for the fourth time because that's what Tyler Durden wants you to do. Not a movie, but my wife just started watching Breaking Bad because she never got into it before, and I'm super jealous that she gets to see it for the first time. Same here. I just watched the pilot with my girlfriend and she told me she was successfully hooked. And so we begin. Edge of Tomorrow. Such an enjoyable first watch. And subsequent watches. But the first, as my expectations were so low. Came here to say this. Relatively few spoilers were online and the name doesn't really give away what happens. Even the marketing was kind of like, "Hey, they're fighting monsters in Gundams," and that's all I expected, but it was so much better. The Prestige. Classic Nolan. Can't believe I had to scroll this far to see it. Infinity War. I missed out on seeing it in theaters, dodged every spoiler online, and 5 minutes before going home and watching the Blu-ray, my coworker intentionally spoiled it for me. What sucks more is that it ended up being my favorite Marvel movie too. Haven't really got along with him since TBH. My coworker intentionally spoiled it for me. I really hate folk like that. Can't stand anyone else to have any sort of enjoyment. Say 7N 1995 by Fincher is one of the movies I recommend people to watch without talking to anyone about it. Less you know about it the better. Had to scroll WAAAAAYY too much for this. Interstellar. Blew my mind. Yami 2, have only watched it once and what a film it is. I really want to see it again but I want to watch it with someone the next time. The Usual Suspects. Why is this so low? The greatest twist ending I have seen. Jurassic Park, my favorite film, never got to see it in the theater. I would absolutely love to experience that on the big screen with an entire audience also watching for the first time. Can't even imagine how incredible that experience would be. Occasionally there are shows with a live orchestra. I saw it once at the Royal Albert Hall and it was just like seeing it for the first time, truly amazing experience. The Sixth Sense. That plot twist in the end hit me like a freight train. I see dead people. God damn. Isn't it crazy how he turns out to be Bruce Willis the entire time? Harry Potter series. We read the books together as a family, and after each book, watched the movie that corresponds with that book before moving on to the next. The movie was like a reward for reading. It was great, it gave us something to talk about all the time and look forward to. After the final Deathly Hallows, took the family on vacation to Universal Studios' Harry Potter World. Those few years were some of my fondest family memories ever. I just read the Harry Potter series for the first time earlier this year. I was never allowed to read them as a kid because of the sorcery. After each book I finished, I watched the corresponding movie and it really was like a reward for finishing the book. I loved it. Dark Knight. The whole trilogy for me. I actually really like Batman Begins and TDKR. Good Will Hunting. Such a great movie. How do you like them apples? Memento. Memento is the brain frack movie. Excellent choice. Definitely Inception, so I can re-watch it a few times more and still not understand it. I managed to go into that movie knowing literally nothing about it, and it was one of the greatest movie-going experiences of my life. Arrival. I had no idea, spoiler, the flashbacks were flash-forwards. Heartbreaking yet hopeful and gorgeous. Spoilers, the final scenes revealing her daughter's fate with Max Richer's score playing in the background were heart-wrenching to say the least. It still is my favorite movie. Aliens. This was my go-to movie to have in my background while I slept. There isn't a line I can't recite or act out. When I'm 100 plus and in a nursing home, I'll probably be screaming out lines from this movie to the nurses. The Princess Bride. The first fell in love with this movie. I did too, but a big part of it is all the nostalgia from watching it over and over again as a kid. Saving Private Ryan. I was at the edge of my seat the first time I watched it. That opening battle, man, that was just crazy the first time I saw it, and just as crazy now. I really want to say Endgame, but honestly I'd have to go with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I was one of those people who watched the movies first and I was not expecting the twist. I also loved Alfonso Cuarón's long takes and the way he used mirrors and glass. Cuarón did something special with The Prisoner of Azkaban. I always felt it was the best movie to watch because it captured the Hogwarts atmosphere so well, it made me feel at ease as a child. This made the whole serious situation a lot more ominous to me as a child because it was so distinct from the first half of the movie. Howl's Moving Castle. First time I watched this movie was a year ago. I was sick, seasonal depression was setting in real bad, was stressed over my best friend's upcoming wedding and my new job. I had been miserable for a week straight. I stayed home from work that day, and at night my boyfriend came home, lit a candle, and played it. It cleansed my whole soul, I think. Couldn't remember the last time I felt that level of peace. Catch Me If You Can. I love the rapport that gradually builds between that conman, DiCaprio, and the FBI agent on his case, Hanks. Also even the characterization of minor characters, like Christopher Walken's character, is very memorable. I always recommend this film. I really like this movie. Lawrence of Arabia. Seeing that in a theater in the 90s is one of my favorite movie memories. Gone Girl. This is definitely an underrated choice, but I 100% agree with you. It's very well constructed and you just don't know if she was really murdered for like an hour of the film. Kimi no Na wa, Your Name. I always re-watch the movie when I am feeling down and out about life. This would be my choice too. If I ever need a good cry I watch this movie. Star Wars. People love sharing their magical experiences of seeing Star Wars for the first time. But I have no memory of seeing Star Wars for the first time. It's just, always been there. Yup, I can remember playing Jedis with my little brother growing up, but I can't remember when I saw the movies. We've got pictures of us with toy lightsabers from when I was 6 and he was 4, so it was at least around there. I wish I could go back and be shocked by the "No, I am your father" reveal rather than just growing up always knowing it. That might be why I love the new trilogy so much. I finally get to see Star Wars with no idea what happens next. Braveheart. Saw it without knowing a single thing about it. The theater also had a new surround system. It was a significant life experience. When you get to the part they have him on the rack and he yells, "Freedom!" Wow, broke my heart. Back then movies had like a 6-month lag in Europe. So I got to see it there a second time when it premiered. Was awesome. It came out in May here but October there. Inglourious Bastards. Arrivederci. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw that in theaters when I was around 12 and that may have been the best movie experience of my life. I'm jealous. I wasn't born yet to see it in theaters, but the first time I watched it on VHS when I was 7 or 8, I was glued to that TV set. I watched that movie probably 50 times that summer, pretending all the couch furniture were rocks I was jumping to avoid the traps in the cave at the beginning of the movie. Every time I rewatch it now in my 30s, I get a little misty-eyed when the theme plays anytime during the movie or at the end because it just reminds me of a time of being 100% happy. Forrest Gump. The music, story and VFX are stunning. When I watched it the first time I thought he was real. It's such a good movie. Agreed. Maybe I'm just an uncultured swine but I would like to watch Endgame for the first time again. I accompanied all Marvel movies since I was a child and seeing all those payoffs and references in the last battle was simply amazing. I couldn't manage to close my mouth for that entire last act. I know what you mean, one of the few times I've yelled at a movie. That last battle scene was unbelievable and I don't think it will be topped for a long time. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Hans Zimmer's score for the movie are considered, for me, one of his best works. Shutter Island. I have to confess this was the first movie I went to see by myself. And somehow, even though I literally worked with the criminally insane, I didn't question why he was seeing his dead wife. WTF. The Blair Witch Project. Going into the theater on word of mouth. Nobody really 100% sure if it was real. Haven't had many movie experiences like that. Not my favorite movie, but everything around that first experience was so unique. Came here to say Blair Witch Project. I saw it at a free preview screening in a packed theater late at night. I only knew about it because the friend I went with was really into movies and kept up with movie news. Coherence 2013 by far. This movie is such an underrated, unseen gem. I've never met a person in real life who has even heard about it, but it's amazing and mind-bendy as hell. Please subscribe. Multiple videos uploaded daily.